Hey there, friends. How about painting this canvas with these types of flowers? Sounds great, right? So let's get started. Don't leave me. Keep watching. I'm just going to go over a supply list and then we will be ready. So I have a canvas from our art kit, and of course the paints and brushes from the kit as well. Or you can grab your own watercolors or acrylics or temperas and your own thing to paint on, whether it be a canvas or a board or cardboard or paper. And I've got napkins, brushes, my paints, and then I've got a water cup. Don't use your favorite because it might get stained. Put on some clothes you don't care if you get them all dirtied up. And of course, cover your paint surface so you don't get in trouble like I did when I was a kid, right, Mom? Okay, so we are going to get started. I am going to take all of these off my paint plate. I do like to reuse paint plates whenever I can. Just, it helps the environment, right? Any little bit we can do. So I like to use quite a bit of white, especially with this kind of painting. Remember though, you can always add more to your plate, but once it's on your plate, sometimes you don't want to put it back in the container. Although these containers are pretty easy to dump back into. Now I've got some yellow, in case we want some yellow flowers. And how about, and I always put the lids back on. You don't have to screw them on since technically we might need more. But I would definitely at least lay the lids on top, right? If it bothers you to use a dirty paintbrush to dip in your new colors, then wash it off in your cup each time. I just don't like to wash my brush that much, so I'm okay with kind of dirtying up my paint colors a little bit, and it doesn't mess them up that bad. I will say you probably want to avoid getting paint on the rims of these because if your paint dries with the lid on, it does make it really hard to pop the lid off. Okay. Some purple in case we want some purple flowers. And really, just because you see me do this type of way does not mean that you have to. You can totally switch it up and of course do it how you wanna. Okay, now I don't have green, but I can use yellow and turquoise to make green, or I can use yellow and blue to make green. And I do need a little bit of black because the vase does have a few black polka dots, but the black does go a long way, so you don't really need too much, right? Okay, now I can go ahead and show you how to clean the brush, and then we'll get started. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and I am going to dip it in my water and it becomes a ballerina. And we smush and swirl, making sure to rub the sides on the inside of the cup and wipe, wipe, wipe. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now I'm going to dry. It is so important that every time you wash your brush, you dry it. I know it seems silly, but I am going to, right off the bat, hold my paintbrush just like I hold a pencil, right where the metal and the handle touch, and go ahead and paint my vase white. Now, if you don't want a white vase, that's okay. Paint it whatever color you want. I always outline the area first, and I know you can't really tell since I'm using white paint on a white canvas, but I do outline my areas and then paint as I go. So outline and paint, outline and paint. Here we go. And fill it all in. You can try to smooth it out from one edge of the vase to another, or like the bow to the edge, bow to the edge, bow to the edge, bow to the edge, just like that. And I even like to paint my sides. Now you can purposefully paint on top of all your Sharpie lines, or to kind of hide them and cover them up, or you can always go back with the Sharpie provided in the paint kit and go back and re-Sharpie your lines, right? Now I am going to mix together. I'm going to let that hang out in the water and switch to my bigger brush, one of the bigger flat ones. And I am going to mix together some white and turquoise. So I've got about a quarter size amount of white, and then I just covered the tips of my bristles with the turquoise, so it's not very much. It's better to start out with not enough paint when you're trying to darken it than too much. And then I'm going to scrape my edges. And I am going to get in here and paint around all these flowers. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Do not worry about getting paint on top of the flowers or the leaves. And here's why. We're going to be putting paint on top of the leaves and the flowers a little bit thicker than I do with most of my paintings. So it's going to cover it right up. No worries. Be happy, right? No worries. Be happy. Make sure that you continue to watch this video all the way to the end so you can see the end result. There we go. And we just sort of swirl the brush, curves, swirls, sweeps back and forth till you get it filled in how you want it. Just like that. There we go. Whoop. Kind of got a little on the vase, and since my vase is still wet, I can just wipe that turquoise right off. Now, I like, oh, just kidding, not done. There's a little bit of background around in here too, okay? So just like that. Not perfect. I got paint on places that I don't really want it, and that is totally okay. Now, I like to paint my edges, so I am going to bring the color to the sides. Just like that. And get this all filled in. Fabuloso. Ta-da. And you could just go ahead and paint all of the edges if you want to, and then make it easy on yourself. Or if you think you can remember, like right here, I can bring that flower color over to the edge, over to the edge, over to the edge, okay? Now, here we go. Okay, now sometimes your paintbrushes will start to lose their paint on them. Don't even worry about it. It's okay. It's just because they sit in the water so much, so no big deal. Now, make sure you don't have any little white spots peeking through, and you are done with the background. I'm just going to put this in the water, let it hang out. And I am going to start working on my flowers. Now, to make pink, I think you guys know because you're so smart, but I'm going to take some white and a little bit of red. The less red you use, the lighter pink you will have. The more red you use, the darker pink you'll have. You guys know that. Roll my brush off kind of like this, or scrape it to get the extra off. And now I can fill in this flower. And again, we don't worry about staying perfectly in the lines because the flowers next to it are actually going to be in front of it. They're going to be overlapping a little bit, so they'll just cover it right up. Any little oopsies we made will be covered right up. So there's base layer, just like that, base layer. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the pink in my brush, and I am going to grab some white, and I am going to make a curve and a curve. Grab a little more white, curve, curve. Grab a little more white, just like that, and get it all filled in. Now, if you wanted, and then I could even grab a little bit of red and pop a little bit of red into my flower as well. There we go. So they're basically just curved, smushed lines. Curve and smush, curve and smush. There's really no wrong way to do it. It's just a matter of taking a deep breath and letting loose, right? Let it go. You don't want me to sing the song, and I don't know that I can sing the song for copyright purposes. So in my classroom I do though, and it drives them crazy. While I still have the pink on my brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and make a circle that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, just like this. And get this little guy all filled in. Okay, then same thing. And if you want to kind of alternate it and actually do the dark first, so basically I'm using the side of the bristles instead of the tip, and I'm kind of smushing and curving. Smushing and curving, smush and curve, smush and curve, smush and curve. Just like that. Ta-da! And then I'll grab some white, and I've just left all the pink in there, and kind of streak in a little bit of bright white spots. Just like that. So fun. I promise you it's so much easier than it looks, as long as you just take a deep breath and let it go. And then I'll go ahead and paint in this little guy right here. This little bud. And you know what? If you get a little out of the lines, that's okay. It's okay if you change the shape. Nobody is going to know. Because you can pretty much cover up. Notice how I add a little dark in there, because you can pretty much cover up any of these Sharpie lines, so nobody's really going to know if you got out of the lines, right? Okay, now I'm going to clean this brush, and I think I'm going to do my yellow next. Remember, we smush and swirl, dry, dry, dry. I'm going to get me a chunk of white, a good chunk. Good healthy chunk of white, and completely mix that into my yellow. It helps it to not be so see-through. Roll my brush, and then again start at the middle. This time I am going to go a little bit more carefully when I get close to the edge, just because both of my pinks are wet, and I know that yellow and red makes orange. Pink is kind of like red, so yellow and pink is going to make an orangey color too. But I think that's okay if a little orange gets in there. Now, and I'm actually purposefully going to mix some orange in a minute. Swirl some white in, so it's like a circle that keeps getting bigger, and then it just turns into curved lines like that. Okay, and there we go. And now to make orange, I can grab a little bit of my red, come over here on the side of my yellow, not in all of my yellow, little bit of red at a time. Red is such a strong, powerful color, and yellow is so light that it will totally take over. So just a little bit of red at a time. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and then what I could do is grab me a chunk of white, mix that into the orange I just made so it softens it up, just like that. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe we want them a little softer. And we'll go right here, kind of just fill this one in with little smushed curved brush strokes. There we go. Remember, you can bring your color over to the side if you want. Totally don't have to, just if you want. I'm going to go ahead and make this one the same color just to sort of balance out that orange. So see, we have pink, pink, orange, orange, right? And I guess I could do that one yellow or make it orange. Really just, I mean, they could all be pink if you want. Make them your favorite colors. This is your painting for you to enjoy. Now I'll swirl a little bit of white in there. And again, just trying to find a place to grab it for you. You can do a little swirl if you want. That's another way you can do it. And then just curve, curve, curve. And then I should have left some of that orange darker, so now I'm going to add some more yellow and red to it. So if you want little pops of darker orange in there, you can totally have it. Have it your way. Isn't that a commercial? Okay. Just like that, guys. OMG. Okay. Fabulous. Now, let's go ahead and make these orange as well while we've got it in our brush or whatever color you're using. The less you can clean out your brush, the better, because then that means it's the less times you have to go to the sink and wash out your brush, right? So I kind of outlined and filled in, make nice smooth brush strokes to the end, very gently. Grab some white, do a little pop of white in there, just to soften it up, okay? There we go, and then, maybe another orange one, I don't know. Really no wrong answer. I may throw some yellow in there too, some bright yellow. If you get a little on your bow, don't even worry about it. There we go. Maybe throw some yellow swirls in. Swirl, curve, 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 curve. Remember, we're gentle. Barely touch the brush to the canvas. Let's sweep some white in there. There we go. That's a lot of orange, isn't it? Let me grab some straight red. Let's put maybe just a little bit of little red pops. Just a little in there. Like that. Maybe a little red sweep across the bottom of those little buds. Yeah, that's cute. Cutie, cute, cute. Okay. Now I'm going to work on my bow for a minute, work on those spots, and then I'll go back and do the leaves, okay? So really the bow could be whatever color you want. I think I'm going to go kind of a dark pink, so I'm adding more red to my pink. Fill that in. I'm still using my medium pointy brush. If you feel better about using your like a smaller brush, then go for it. Use what is comfortable for you. You are your own special artist, and your painting should not look like mine. Mine should not look like yours. We all have our own uniqueness, and that's why art is so special, because there's no wrong answer. No wrong answer. So much better than math. Okay. So get that filled in just like that. So anytime I fill in an area, I always like to outline it first and then fill it in. So I'm going to give you a close-up in case you need to pause. Trying to get a better angle so the light is not glaring. There it is. So the light's not glaring so much. Remember, pause me at any time that you need to so that you can get yourself caught up. That is the luxury of doing art at home. My students totally wish that they could pause me. I'm adding a highlight on the top of each curve of the bow around the left of the center, kind of looks like a C, and at the top of each of the ribbon parts hanging down. So just like that. Now I am going to, something is catching my eye. Remind me, right here in that little hole, I feel like maybe that should be background color right there. So just remind me to fix it. I will try. Now on these dots, you have some options, honestly. You could use a bigger brush handle, dip your brush in the paint, hold it just like you would hold a pencil, and go straight down and straight up. And that is going to make a dot. Here, I'll show you. So you can go straight down and straight up. Or if that's too small, you can go down and then make a circle with your brush handle. Barely touch it to the canvas. And now we have a perfect little circle. And that was all with my brush handle. Okay? So it's really whatever is comfortable for you, best for you. You could switch to your baby brush, use that one. But I will say you can make a C and then a backward C to connect and then fill them in. I will say though, you may want to make your circles a little smaller than what you intend for them to be, because I have learned that sometimes circles get bigger, 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 bigger when we are trying to make them more rounded and more perfect. So you might think about that when you're trying to make your circles. Maybe start them a little smaller than what you want them to be and then fill them in, okay? And again, you can do them different sizes. You can try to make them all like uniform, the same size. You can even try to put them like in staggered rows. Again, it's your painting. Whatever floats your boat. There we go. And how about another one? And maybe put one over here on the edge. Just like that, just like that, and maybe a little one peeking in right there. That looks pretty balanced, I think. Might be able to see some of that one. Uh-oh, pink got mixed in. There we go, from the other side. Okay, now, so we did our bow, we did our polka dots, and we can move into some green. So I am going to mix some turquoise with my yellow and kind of make my own green, just like that. And maybe even mix in some white. I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there too because I want it darker. So you could use blue or turquoise. Technically it's blue. Y'all probably can't even see that. There we go. Blue and yellow makes green. Adding white makes it not so see-through. I'm going to add a little bit more blue, just like that. And then I'm going to do something, well, maybe a little bit more blue. Let me do some blue before I decide if I'm going to do my other thing. Okay, I'm going to do something that kind of blows your mind a little. Red and green are complementary colors, so I'm going to use just a smidge of red, like mini chocolate chip amount, and mix that into my green over here. And what it does is it makes it darker. Makes you a darker green, which is so cool. But I will say, if you use too much red, it's going to go like a purpley color, deep magenta-y. It's weird. So keep that in mind. Okay. Ooh, I had a thought too. Oh man. You know what? I don't want to clean my brush. Okay, that's okay. I wanted to add a little bit of purple in here, but we still can. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace my leaves, fill them in. Remember, the harder you push your brush, the bigger your brush stroke's going to be. The softer you place your brush down on the canvas, the smaller your brush strokes will be. These little wispies, we can just kind of flick them out and flick them out. And if it bothers you that some paint might get mixed, like right there on the end where I got into the pink, it kind of mixed into my leaf, then what you can do is go use a blow dryer. That is the only reason, well, I say only. I also blow dry my doggies when they get out of the bathtub. So I use my blow dryer to blow dry my dogs and to blow dry my paintings, but not to blow dry my hair. I don't like to blow dry my hair, which is probably healthier, I guess, for my hair. I don't know. Then we'll do some little, we got to connect with some stems. We got to draw some little wispies to sort of fill in the space. So quick little, barely touch your brush to the canvas, little wispies. Those are kind of fun to throw in there. And right now it's just kind of looking like a big old mess, but I promise here in a minute it won't, okay? Same thing here, some green. The little rosebuds have, you know, the green where the flower blooms out of, right? There we go. There we go. And little wispies, wherever you want them. Okay, before I do any more green, I am going to clean my brush. I'm going to mix some white and purple together because I want it to be softer. And kind of in these little empty spaces, I'm going to add a little bit of purple, not completely everywhere, but just a little bit. And all I'm doing is just dab, 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 dab. Dab, dab, da dab, dab, dab. Okay, there it is. Maybe a little up here. Maybe a little right in here where there's a little gap in here. There we go. Maybe a little right here. There we go. Okay, then I can go back to my green. So I will get back in my green. I did not make enough. Make sure you guys make enough of that color so that you don't run out, right? That's really annoying to make a beautiful color and then totally run out of it. And so all I'm doing, and if you feel better about using your smaller brush, then do that, but I'm just putting little sweeps of green kind of in the middle of the flowers. So just quick little sweeps. And remember, this is all a process. Oop, I didn't mean to clean my brush. This is all a process. So I paint in layers. I do lots and lots of layers of paint, and that's just how I like to paint. Kind of like how Van Gogh painted, and I really like Van Gogh art, which is sort of cliche for an artist to say. But he just had such thick brush strokes, and it just was so beautiful. Okay, I put way too much red in there, so it's gone to the brown side. Ugh. Ugh. So I'm putting some more yellow and blue back in there. Get back in there, guys. All right. Roll my brush to get the extra out. I have completely changed my color, and I didn't mean to. All I meant to do is just make a little bit more and add some more red to it to darken it up, and I've gone to the camo side. Okay, well, we'll try it. So I'm gonna put, yeah, maybe if I add some white. I'm gonna put little pops of this extra green in here just to break up some of my green, because it's a lot of green. So by putting little pops of this extra green color in here, now granted, if you made enough green from the beginning, all I was trying to do was add just a little bit more red to it to deepen it up some, but I didn't have enough, so I was trying to make more green and just totally changed my whole shade, but that's okay. So I added little pops of another green in there, just like that. And then I am going to now take some black and I'm going to hit the undersides. So whatever you would consider the undersides, that's where I'm going to hit with my brush. just a little pops here and there, just to create a little bit more depth in our painting, which creates more interest, right? Okay, then I think I probably should clean my brush a bit because I want to add a little pop of black here and there. Now you would rather switch to your baby brush, so just going to do some little curves. Now if you like your flowers and your painting the way it is, don't do what I'm doing right now, okay? Just leave it. If you like it the way it is, just leave it alone. Totally up to you. But I have the black polka dots and I have the little bit of black shadows in the flowers. I mean, in the leaves. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just add a smidge, just a smidge to my flowers. And then I'll go on the opposite sides of where I put the white pops on my bow, and I'll hit with a little bit of black. And again, I'm using my baby brush, so that way I just make little bitty brush strokes. I am going to carefully re-outline my vase, or you could totally do all of these little black lines with your Sharpie after your painting is 100% dry. If it's not 100% dry, it's not a good idea to use Sharpie on it because it will ruin your Sharpie, I promise. I have students that have ruined a lot of Sharpies. Okay. And then last is I don't have much left, but I'll take a little bit of white and add little pops of white into my painting. So that way I have a few little highlights in there as well. Because we have our little bits of shadow, so why not add little bits of highlight, right? So on the opposite side of where your shadows are is where your highlights will go. And that might be it. So I love, love, love. Again, it's just super loose, super fun, and happy, right? This would make such a great gift for somebody. And of course, people love personalized gifts that come from the heart. So you can make it your own colors, add as much or little green in there as you want, paint your vase how you want. It's just a lot of fun, guys. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you have questions, please leave comments or take a picture of your painting and put it down in the comments. I love when students share their art. It makes me happy. So thank you for spending some time with me. And of course, rewind if you missed something. And if you want, you can go back and check out my painting on this one, because these flowers are exactly like those flowers, but they're a little bigger. So it might kind of help you if you watch both of these before you create your own. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you want to buy a kit, make sure to reach out on our website and fill out a little contact. Or you can buy kits right off our website in our shop. So thanks so much, and like, subscribe, share, all that awesome social media stuff. See you soon. Thanks, guys.